Do you remember how you met Conor?
Yeah, yeah. I remember. Yeah, same again. I think Conor was came down the first time in Harold's Cross, which is one of the older gyms. With Tom Egan, I think came down once then, and then he started make it like he signed up pretty much in Rathcoole and was there ever since. And I remember Conor hasn't changed since day one. You know, the first time I met Conor, he, very confident, very confident in his hands, because he came from boxing, young and motivated, and he was phenomenal when it came to just hands at the start. And if you I would have been one of Conor's sparring partners early on for years. And if you just tried to stay hands with him, he'd hurt you. Um, but you'd use your kicks against him, and then over a period of time, he was getting good at defending kicks. And then
Hmm.
you're like, fuck it, you just take him down because he didn't really have much wrestling or jiu-jitsu. And then he started getting better at wrestling defense, and then you nearly shoot a takedown, sprawl, and sit through and get him to the ground and keep him on the ground. And then he started learning jiu-jitsu and started getting good everywhere. But the biggest thing for me, when Conor when I met Conor, was his belief from day one. Like, you go in and you'd submit Conor in jiu-jitsu, but he'd still believe he was the best fighter in the world. Just He was just like, I'm still the best. It was just like, I think he just, in his mind, he was like, it's only a matter of time before I'm better than everyone. He just always believed he was the best. Like, I remember Conor was, I think he'd signed to Cage Warriors. I think he was only a couple of pro fights in, and Aldo had fought Chad Mendes, and it was one of the best fights we'd seen, and everyone was talking like Aldo was untouchable. And I remember talking to Conor the Monday morning and saying, "Did you see Aldo? He was phenomenal, wasn't he?" Conor went, "I'd knock him out, guaranteed. I'd get my hands on him, I'd knock him out." And I kind of walked off to myself, and I was like, is he bleeding delusional, or is he mad, or what? Like, this is the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, the best. And without a second thought, like, and when somebody's just lying, or when somebody believes what he's saying. And Conor, like, he didn't have to think about it. He believed it straight away. He had already seen flaws in Aldo's game when Aldo was at the top of his game that nobody's seen. And everyone's inclined to do that, including myself. You see the best fighter in the world now, like, let's say Adesanya, like, phenomenal. You look at all the pros, Conor doesn't. Conor finds that one little hole, and he's like, I do this. And then, even back then, he was like, nah, he's too aggressive, he's too wild. I'd ping him. And then in the fight, he did it. So, yeah, Conor's Connor's belief made everyone believe in the gym that we were in SPG at that time. His belief in himself and his ability made us all believe in ourselves and our ability to reach that UFC
So
stage.
that belief comes from, as you said, knowing yourself and knowing the opponents, or it's just almost, as you said, almost delusional idea that you are the best. Like, what's?
Yeah, well, I think the belief at the start, comes from maybe a work ethic. Like, yeah, kind of believed in himself, but I think by believing himself, he knew he was going to get there, and he knew he was going to do whatever it took to get there. So that was the belief at the start, and then no matter what, knowing that, um, you know, once he, prepared and worked his ass off and made those 2 sessions a day and dieted and never missed a session, even if he was sore, or, like, the whole lot of us, like, when that team was coming up, people that know about it in the Irish scene, that SPG team coming up, the kind of the old school guys. It was a team of killers that never missed a session. That you know had grueling sessions every day and worked their ass off, and just you know, it was just a mad time. That team believed in itself because of its work ethic, and we knew who we were working with, and we knew with the person facing us, and that was another killer that wanted to take our head off. So you better be switched on, or you're getting switched off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Conor's belief came from that work ethic, his belief in his ability, and his belief that no matter what it took, whether he lost or not, like, 'cause he lost early in his career, kind of, but it didn't stop him. Came back, fixed the mistakes that he made in the fight, and moved forward. And then he had a loss early on in his career. Got caught in a leg lock in front of all his friends and all. It was a hard loss for him to take. I cornered him in that fight, his first loss, and we went there, we put hands on his opponent and hurt his opponent, but Conor was still a striker back then, and he didn't address the leg lock early enough. He was too busy Conor was still a fighter. So what I mean by that was he wanted to kill his opponent, and while he was punching, laying down fire on his opponent was treating it as a competition and had a strategy to get to the leg. And it was too late for Conor to realise that his leg was trapped, and he tapped. But that was a tough loss from his first time he fought. He fought in his own area in Crumlin with his whole family there, and it was a very tough fight for him and against a tricky opponent. But that didn't stop him. He came back. He learned the jiu-jitsu game. He got better on the ground game, and went on a tear. I think he went 5 or 6 fights, KOs, TKOs. But he lost again. That didn't stop him against Duffy, And one difference between that loss and the first loss he went missing. I think he just got a bit disheartened, and he was young, and he went missing for a couple of months and came back. And then he went on that tear. Then he lost against Duffy, and he came back on the Monday. That was a turning point for me. He was back on the Monday, fought on the Saturday, back on the Monday. And I was like, how are you feeling? And he says, look, it is what it is, Owen. I need to immerse myself in jiu-jitsu. I need to love the sport. I need to love jiu-jitsu for me to become really good at it. And he did. He just focused on jiu-jitsu for a very long time, put the gi on, start grading, start competing in jiu-jitsu competitions, went to Iceland, spent a while over there, and came back with a love of jiu-jitsu. And then, the rest is history. He just tore through everybody there.
Yeah, that's definitely, his rise was meteoric. That's crazy. Were you were in his corner in the last fight, right, with Cerrone?
I wasn't there, yeah.
That shoulder bump, did you guys plan that stuff? What did you guys come up with?
No, we didn't plan it. Well, it's not. We didn't plan it because it's something that Conor's been doing for years. It's not like it's hard to say it now, but it's a shot that's going to annoy. For most part, it'll annoy you, and it'll get reactions out of you, and it'll get you to transition from that, over under position. It gets you moving your head, and it allows Conor the space to either break or continue on in his clinch game, where he's been doing it for many years. It was just that Cerrone, I don't think, was expecting it, and hadn't seen it. Like, he's done it in other fights, in other fights in the UFC as well, but just not to that extent. And I just don't think Cerrone was even thinking of it. And Conor was just hitting him with so much power, and that shoulder, cracked him in the eye and swelled up the eye and stuff like that, and just kind of surprised Cerrone. And then I think it was the pace that Conor set at the start, and we all knew this. I just don't think Cerrone expected it. I think Cerrone thought Conor was going to ease into the fight, especially the way, they were very friendly before the fight. And I said it to Ariel Tamani. I said, don't think Conor's going to come in there slow and take it light and ease into the fight. I know he's very friendly and he respects Cerrone and there's no bad blood, but You know, you could be Conor's best mate in there, and I know this from spars. You know, you could be very close to him, but as soon as you're in a cage with him and there's a closed door, it's a different person you're facing. You know, there's somebody that's in there that's going to do whatever it takes to win, and he's going to put it on you. So no matter how nice he is before, and he'll be very nice after it as well, but it's a different. There's a different person you're fighting in that cage. There's a very smart, tactical, controlled, aggressive fighter in the cage, and that's whether you're sparring them, that's whether you're fighting them in the cage in regards to, you know, people you bring in for fights, or whether it's in a professional bout.
And I think he said he retired. I don't think that's the case, but you can
Well,
comment on that.
He's
Okay.
retired for the moment. You know, I think,
Yeah.
you know, you never know. But Conor loves the sport.
Yeah.
He really loves the sport. He loves to compete, and he likes to prove that he's the best in the world. And I believe Conor is the best in the world, even now, with consistent training and, you know, and motivated Conor to fight, not with all the other businesses, you know, not with having to deal with all his other ventures and stuff like that, and training and enjoying his training. I think he's the best in the world. I just think his fight IQ is better than anyone else's in the world. Yeah, he has losses and whatnot, but even his ability to come back from losses, that just shows how good he is as well. I believe he's the best in the world. I think, you know, a focused, motivated Conor is the best fighter in the world. He believes it as well. So, you know, he's retired now, and, you know, whether it's forever, I don't know. Only he knows that. But yeah, and he's enjoying. I think it's a good thing for him as well to take some time out and, you know, enjoy his young family coming up now. He's got 2 young kids,
Yeah.
and his girlfriend Dee, and, you know, kids grow up so fast. I said this yesterday in another interview, and kids grow up so fast, and you don't want to miss it either, you know. So I think he's doing the right thing. He doesn't need to fight, but I'd imagine if there was a big fight to come around, and, you know, everything got back to normal, and there was a big crowd there, and there was a super fight, no better man to come back out and smash somebody, you know. Kind of, I think he'd be more than happy to do that. But whether that comes, I don't know.